I got murder on my mind. Yellow tape around his body. It's a fucking homicide. His face is on a t-shirt and his family's traumatized. I didn't even mean to shoot him. He just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back and shot him twice. His body dropped down to the floor and he got teardrops in his eyes. He grabbed me by my hands and said he was afraid to die. I told him it's too late, my friend. It's time to say goodbye. And he died inside my arms. Blood all on my shirt. My name's Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden, and I'm just trying to figure out if we are currently streaming. Because this is the old stream. We've already got 8 views.
Mm-hmm.
But what about...
Go to our channel.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
See what happens down there.
Here we go. What's going on here?
Yes, this is a live stream.
It's
of
us.
Looking at the live stream.
It's
looking
us.
At the live
So
stream.
we're now looking at the live stream.
Tyler, the website creator, says that we are live streaming.
Yeah, so I've got a little scoop from Tyler, the website creator.
Yeah.
Now, allegedly, there's been some talk of foul play afoot because you've called him out on the podcast. You said Tyler didn't make my website creator.
Right.
Tyler
didn't make my
create the
website
website creator.
Yeah.
And I happened to catch up with him recently. Actually, yesterday I bumped into him at a screening, and he said, "I've done it. It's finished.
Right.
What's Harley talking about?
Right.
It's all there. It's ready for him. It's just sitting there."
Well, he hasn't sent it to me in the last 5 years
Now,
since we
when
began
you
that
say-
project.
When you say he hasn't sent it to you, are you sure that he hasn't sent it to you?
Yeah.
And you just didn't look at that link and then thought that he never ever sent it to you?
No, I mean, obviously I would have a look at a website. It's HarleyNeville.com, and I paid for the domain and everything.
Tyler,
And
who's telling the truth here?
And many moons ago, we did have several meetings about it, but then the updates just stopped on that one, and then it disappeared, and then that was it. There's no HarleyNeville.com.
Tyler,
So,
help a brother out.
yeah. If it's finished and it's ready, let's get that puppy live. HarleyNeville.com. Post my Splenetic rants up there.
Splenetic.
Yeah, but see, because we fucked up the first stream, now it just says the Guy and Harley podcast. It doesn't have a title. It's all fucked. The link that I shared on Facebook is fucked. Everything's fucked.
The good news is Tyler's watching.
Well, that is good. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
He hasn't clarified.
Now, that was YNW Melly.
Yep.
Those lyrics, YNW Melly, from his hit single, Murder on My Mind.
Now, I understand that he's actually murdered someone now.
Well, he's in jail now. He is in jail
For
because
murder.
For murdering his friend. 2 of them, actually. And so he is YNW Melly, which stands for Young Ninja World, and there's other YNW people in the YNW clique, and they're all a gang of rappers that collaborate together. Yeah, and he and one of the other YNW guys organized to do a drive-by shooting on 2 of the other members of YNW, shot them both, and then drove them to hospital to pretend that, it wasn't, that they weren't in on it type thing. And it didn't work. The police, the judicial system has seen through their ruse, and they've been now arrested and are awaiting trial for double homicide, which is quite a shame when you consider that this young man had everything. He had a hit song. He was being a successful rapper. He was 22 years old with his whole life ahead of him, and because of his lack of control of his temper and maybe just his stupid gangster attitude, he's now going to rot in an American jail for the rest of his life.
So I think it's quite interesting that he wrote a song about murdering someone and then he actually did it. I also think it's kind of interesting that his alibi was that he drove them to the hospital after murdering them. you know?
Yeah.
Because that's not necessarily known to work.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he tried. At least he tried.
I mean, to me, that does sound like the idea of creating an alibi around the fact that you're like, yeah, man, I just found these guys shot.
Yeah.
And can you save them?
Yeah.
I'm guessing was what happened.
Yeah.
Knowing full well they were dead, I'm
I think
assuming.
they died in hospital.
Right.
They died inside his arms, blood all on his shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he stated.
And so, yeah, I do think he's going to severely regret those lyrics when his day in court comes. And they play that song in court, and it's I Got Murder on My Mind, AK-47 Mac 11s, Glocks and 9s or something like that. Yeah. So, rest in peace, Melly. You're fucked, cunt.
Yeah, well, I just want to know why he decided to murder these two. You know, what was it over? Was it women?
Well, I think they were gang. I think they were all
Was
kind of
it
gang
drugs?
affiliated. I assume it was drugs.
Or was it
and
simply
jealousy?
he felt slighted
Yeah.
by these two individuals?
Yeah.
And in which case, why? All of it seems weird.
Such a waste, isn't it? Just if there's a toxic person in your life, just cut them out, walk away. Don't murder them because you'll end up in jail for the rest of your life.
Well,
it's not
14,
fucking rocket
or at
science.
least 14 years.
Well, in America, it'll be the rest of his life.
25 to life.
Yeah, and
25 to
plus
life.
2 murders.
Yeah, so, 50 years probably.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's ever getting out.
Well,
Premeditated. It's even he's got a song called "Murder on My Mind" about murdering his friend, and then he murdered his friend. This guy is definitely getting the book thrown at him for what's the word?
Premeditated murder.
Premeditated murder, exactly.
There's a little fly in here that's quite annoying.
Yeah.
So I was going to do the Mr. Miyagi chopstick thing.
Yeah.
But then I decided not to.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, also the other thing is when you're young, you don't think there's many repercussions.
Yeah.
You don't think there's really repercussions to your actions, and you're not very empathetic to other people. And so if you kill someone when you're 20, I feel like it's much better than if you kill someone when you're 40. As in that your undeveloped brain doesn't understand the ramifications of what you've done in the same way that a 40-year-old man very calculatedly would do and understand in that action. And I'm assuming that he's probably like 18 or some shit.
He's 22.
Oh, he's 22.
He's 22. Yep.
Yeah. So if he was 24,
whole life ahead of him.
if he was 25 or over, not cool.
He probably wouldn't have done it.
Not cool.
He might not have done it.
But because he's 22, I'll give him a pass.
Yeah.
him a
You'll let him
pass.
out.
I'll let
Judge
him out.
Pigden has spoken.
He's safe. No, still do his time, but I would give him not 3 life sentences or something that meant that he couldn't get out. But
but he can get out when he's 72.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do something that 72.
Assuming he survives in jail that long.
Yeah.
Which jail in America sounds like quite a tough place.
Can be.
So
Cool Hand Luke.
he might not
Check
make it.
that out. Highly recommend that film.
Yeah.
Tyler also does say that it's done and you just need to connect the domain name.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
you got to send that to me though.
Yeah. Now, I just feel like this seems like a classic Harley Neville technical issue.
No, he has not sent me a website. I've not looked at a website that says HarleyNevillecom and has pictures of me and all the bits and stuff we talk about. Basically, we had a bunch of meetings about it. I sent him all the stuff. I created all the folders with all the stuff. It's still sitting there on my computer. It's called work, HarleyNeville.com. It's all the stuff that I had to send him. And I sent it on through, and then there was no website sent back to me. So I was like, all right, well, we're just taking our time on this one. And that was 4 to 5 years ago.
Tyler, time to hook up that preview, preview page. Show him that preview page.
Yeah. Give me something I can
Show him
click
that
around on.
unpublished draft.
Yeah, because we haven't done anything like that either, where it's been like I've been sent something, then I've sent him back a bunch of edit notes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, the website creator, let's get it on. Let's do it, son. I'm ready. I'm pumped up.
So, man, I feel like some things have happened in the world recently.
Yeah?
Well, we did have that recent COVID scare.
Okay.
Someone had COVID and then they flew all over the place and did a bunch of things or something. Yeah.
So, because we opened up a travel bubble with Australia, and then we, of course, predictably, an Australian came over with COVID. And then
we should have seen it coming.
We should have. Well, many of us did. And we also said we want people to come over here. The whole point of this bubble is to increase spending because money is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
And in order to increase spending, we want people to come over here and do tourism stuff.
It's the only thing that matters.
And so what we did was we opened a travel bubble and we encouraged people to come over and do travel around doing a bunch of touristy things. And so that's exactly what this fine citizen did. He did exactly what we asked of him. He came over, he spent his money, he traveled around, he did heaps of different stuff. Turned out he was infectious the whole time. So now Wellington's in level 2. He's gone and taken a big level 2 on Wellington.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen next. Plus, it sounds like it's this new Delta variant or something like that.
Right.
This new one. So, which is maybe different and maybe takes longer to show up and so on. So it's all a bit of a concern, really, particularly because I'm going to Wellington in a little over a week, and because I've got a screening down there.
Yep.
But the thing is that I can't go down and do that screening if they're in level 2 because I've got Tokyo coming up in about 3 or 4 weeks, and the last thing I want to do is jeopardize Tokyo. And they go, well, hang on, have you been to any of these high-risk places recently? India, Wellington, and I'll have to be like, yes, and they'll be like, cool, you're not coming anymore. So I might not go to Wellington next week. I might have to talk to my boss about that one.
Might have to put the kibosh on that one.
Yeah. And then also 2 miners in Perth, Australia, tested positive for it. Miners as in people that work in mines, not people that are underage.
Right.
And these miners were, working in kind of close proximity in a mine with, hundreds of other people. And then the mines, I think they also went on some sort of break or something like that. Like a bunch of people got kind of sent home, as you do. And so they're on this. I mean, they're a bunch of hardy Australian miners who are on a fucking break. So between their dicks, their mouths, they're gonna be spreading that shit fucking everywhere, and
we're going to town,
and they're not necessarily going to be signing in with the COVID app, and paying attention to any of that nonsense. You know, they'll just be out spreading all over Australia, and apparently a couple of them came to New Zealand, so they're here.
Good.
They're super spreaders. They don't even know they're infected because they're miners that are not really paying attention to all of that technology nonsense.
Yep.
And so, that's good. That's good that we're going to have a huge outbreak here now.
That's cool. Shut everything back down again.
Can you open the restream and hit thumbs up?
Yeah, I think the restream is already open.
So yeah, that's the COVID update at the moment, and how it may or may not affect us. Now, speaking of murder on my mind and crazy things happening in the world.
Yep.
Last night, I was minding my business, walking home from work. I work in a bar occasionally, and I was minding my business. I'd had a nice enough day, a good enough day. I've got a few exciting things going on. One is that I shot my ad. That's been shot. We can talk about that in a minute. So that's
good.
That's good
felt
news.
like it was on Wednesday.
No, it was last week. It's all done. So that that's good. Now they owe me all that money. Great. Life is good. I've got Tokyo coming up soon, and then on top of that, you and I looks like we've applied for another flat together. It's 2 separate flats under one roof. That it's broken up into 2 flats. It's one house broken up into 2 flats. And one side is my side, one side is your side with the missus, and I'll get in a flatmate or 2. It's really the perfect setup. And when we were kids, we often joked about this fantasy future where we would have a big mansion, and you would have one wing and I'd have the other wing. It'd be the Pigville Productions head office mansion. And so we'd have your wing, my wing, we've got our wives, our kids and all that, and in the middle is kind of the office space separating us. Well, that's basically what we've got now. That's pretty much what we've got. It's not really a mansion. It's more of a shitty, cold, dilapidated old New Zealand villa.
Yep.
That is literally 100 years old.
Yep. Hasn't been well maintained.
But it does have a left and a right side.
Yeah.
So in that sense,
wings.
it's exactly the same. Not really wings of a mansion per se.
More a house divided in half.
Yeah. So it's half a house. Two half houses.
2 half houses.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
But we've put in an application for that, and if we get it, then that's good. It's exciting for me. So I'm feeling good to be kind of getting back on track, getting Pigville under the same roof, make this podcast a lot easier, make creating a lot more content a lot easier. And so, I'm feeling good about that stuff. So last night I finished work and I'm walking home, minding my business, and I've had this song stuck in my head yesterday. It's a metal cover of the song "You Spin Me Round," like a record, the one that goes.
Yeah.
That song.
I know the one. Yeah.
So I was walking home. I'd picked a moment between rainstorms to walk home, and I had my hood up, and it was this rainy Auckland night, and the footpaths sort of glistened in the street light, and I was walking past a bar that I'm sort of associated with, and it's right on the corner of quite a busy street, and so as I approached, I saw this guy standing outside the bar, and he sort of looked like this bouncer that I know that works there, but it wasn't him. It didn't quite look like him, and so I was just walking past, gently whistling to myself a little ditty under my breath, in a jolly mood. And I walked past him, and then I reached the corner, and I had to look over my shoulder to see if there was any traffic coming before I stepped out on the road. And I looked back, and there was no traffic coming. And I noticed him looking at me, and I sort of looked at him, but that was about it. There was no moment of like staunching anybody out or anything like that. There was no moment of acknowledgement or any type of interaction at all, really, beyond seeing that there was a person there. Our eyes just met briefly, and I just kept on walking, and every now and then I heard kind of the scuff of a shoe against the pavement behind me, and I was like, I hope that guy's not following me, because I was thinking like, oh, I hope he didn't think that like when I looked back, I hope he didn't think that I was like whistling, at him trying to get his attention or something, and then when I looked back at the intersection, that it was a furtive glance, to maybe like seduce him or something like that, So I was like, hopefully probably he's just walking home. Like he's just some guy. He's just walking home.
Yeah. He could be walking the same way as you. No worries. That happens. People walk the same way that you do.
Exactly.
Towards home and the same vicinity of your home.
Exactly.
Nothing to be alarmed about.
Exactly. Especially this was not like a really, isolated area,
Yeah.
So, but obviously, as a heterosexual male, the first thing I did think was, I hope he didn't think I was flirting with him, and so I, anyway, so I'm walking along, gently whistling to myself still, hood up, it's rainy, hands in my pockets, minding my fucking business, and I hear what is unmistakably the sound of an e-scooter being kicked over. Disconcertingly close behind me, So I turn around, I look around, and I spin around, ready to kick the ass of whatever's behind me, just like that time when that gust of wind came into my room. Remember? And I spun around, ready to fight it. It was just like that. Yeah. And there, standing,
gentle breeze came into your room, and you were ready.
I was ready to kick its ass if I had to. And then this happened in real life. And, I was ready. Yeah. So I spun around, and there, standing before me, was a giant man. Yeah. He had his hat on, and he had put his COVID mask on since being outside the bar. So that was a clear indication that he had murder on his mind. He's hiding his identity now. Yes. So he'd put his mask on. I turned around. He put his fucking mask on, and he'd knocked this thing over. And I was like, "Whoa, man, what the fuck?" And he was like, "You were whistling at me," and I was like, "No," and he was like, "Yeah, you were calling me." And I was like, "No, man, I was just walking home, minding my business." And he was like, "Did you whistle at me, sir?" And I was like, "I whistled, sir, but not at you, sir. I whistled, but not at you, sir." And so I didn't waste any time, right? Because my South Dunedin, street rat, spidey senses were tingling. I knew that this was, there was no point in sitting here trying to have a polite conversation. Like
that. He's not gonna. He's sizing you up.
He's got a mask.
He's taking aim.
Yeah, he's got ideas.
And so your idea at this time, what was that idea?
Well,
to strike back, to strike first, strike hard, Cobra Kai style. Was that what you were planning on doing?
Well, sometimes a strong offense is the best defense. It's true that sometimes that is actually the best thing to do. But in this case,
strike hard, strike first. Yep.
in this case, I still had options. I wasn't like cornered or anything like that. I wouldn't have liked to have been that guy if I was cornered. I tell you what.
But fortunately
for him,
yeah,
there was room still for me to maneuver. and and so what I did was at the time I was walking away from the shops.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, obviously I need to get back to the shops.
Right.
In this little village. So I sort of doubled back so that now instead of him being between me and the shops, I had sort of scooted around him and was now heading back towards the shops. And I was like, is this guy on drugs or what's the story? I was like, look, man, I'm literally just walking home, minding my business. I'm whistling to myself. I don't know you, leave me alone type thing. And he's like, hey, you were calling me. And then so I just sort of kept on walking back towards the shop and he kept on following me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, he said something and I was like, oh, fuck you, cunt. Leave me alone. And then I ran away. No.
And then you valiantly ran.
No, so what I did was I jogged a few steps ahead to kind of be like, put a little bit of space between him and me and get back to the shops,
But also before you yelled that.
No. I said that first, and then ran away,
and then started jogging.
Yeah, I was like, man, I dismissed him. I was like, man, fuck you, cunt, leave me alone, and then sort of just jogged a few steps away from him because he was quite a big guy.
Yeah,
so I felt pretty comfortable in my ability to outrun him.
Right.
And so I sort of just felt like I just needed a few more meters between him and me, and then I could taunt him all evening from a safe distance.
Yeah.
And so I kept going, and then I looked behind me, and he hadn't chased me, so I was like, okay, good, sweet. But then I just kept on walking, like away from where I wanted to go. And then I looked over my shoulder, and now he was running. He had started jogging towards me. Yeah. And I was like, for fuck's sake, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then basically I was like, all right, look, I'm just trying to go home, get out of my way. And he was like, well, just go home then. And I was like, well, you're kind of in the way, mate, and he was like, and he was like, yeah. So we were sort of in the shops now. It was a bit more safer, and then he was like, just walk past, trust me. As if I should just walk past him just casually, like he's just not going to obviously assault me or something like that. And so I wasn't that stupid. So I crossed the road. Yeah. Then he crossed the road, and then obviously finally saw some fucking sense and turned around and went back across the road, and disappeared. Yeah. But I mean, that's seriously scary because I nearly killed a man that night. I'm from fucking South Dunedin, man. What? We don't fuck around out there, okay? Like I've already witnessed the light fade from a man's eyes, guy, and I don't need to see it again. I don't want to see it again.
You mean that video you watched on YouTube?
Well, a number of videos. But this guy, I was scared. I was scared that this guy was going to wake the beast, and that's not what you want, okay? That is not what you want. But what has this city become? Because I should be able to walk home whistling a little ditty to myself without being accosted by demented thugs. So, even if I had whistled at him, right?
Yeah.
Why would you respond with violence to that? Why would you say, it's just the YNW Melly thing all over again? Why would you respond to...
It's complimentary.
It is complimentary. If he thought I had gone and then cast a furtive glance over my shoulder at him, that would still be a compliment. And even if it wasn't a compliment, honestly, if somebody did that to me, I wouldn't be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to
punch them.
I'm going to assault. I'm going to resort to violence, assault that person, and then go to jail, because that's worth it.
Yeah.
It's just so
he might have gotten
stupid.
away with it.
Well, he might have. He was hanging outside a bar that I think probably does have cameras and all that type of thing. Plus, he was probably in there with friends, presumably. So, but yeah, I mean,
it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Because also, no, actually, look, some people just want to have a fight.
Yeah, well, I think he was probably just out to hurt someone that night.
He wanted to break something tonight.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to destroy something beautiful.
Yeah, he's like a chainsaw, and he wanted to skin your ass raw.
Yeah.
And if his day keeps going this way, he just might break your fucking face tonight.
Yeah.
So that was the real issue there. Yeah, well, look, that's the reason I have a titanium plate on my face.
Yeah.
And a piece out the back of my skull is because of an incident just like that.
Yeah.
So, these things do happen.
Yeah. Well, it's not on. If you're listening.
So if you're listening, sir.
You demented thug. It's not on. Pull your fucking head in.
I hope you've learned a little thing about respect today here on the Guy and Harley podcast and respecting other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I went to
Imagine if he had just coward punched me from behind. I'm walking home, whistling to myself, and I'm just got my hood on, and I didn't really know he was that close, right? Imagine if he...
In theory, he may have been sizing you up to do that.
Exactly, he probably was, and then he decided to push over the e-scooter instead.
Or he was lining you up, right?
Yeah.
And then he kicked over he wasn't really looking, and he stumbled tripped on the e-scooter,
Yeah.
and then you turned around, and he was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just, what?"
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that an e-scooter has saved my life. and so, yeah, but imagine if he just coward punched me and I just faceplant into the concrete and now I'm dead, or now I'm mentally disabled, because of this fucking weirdo when I'm just walking home, having a nice day, whistling a little ditty to myself. Fucking psychos everywhere. This is the problem with people. I think we need to round people up into special camps to help them concentrate. These camps, these concentration camps, where they can learn to concentrate on being good humans.
Hashtag Harley's Hitler moment.
No. Special camps for concentrating. Concentrating on being good.
Concentrating on behaving the way you expect them to.
Exactly. Behaving in the way that a civilized society would allow.
And doing various chores and
yeah, and maybe working.
For the betterment of society.
In order to earn your place in society.
Oh,
something like that.
You suggested it.
Oh, I'm just putting ideas out there.
So
I don't think it's a problem if it's not based off color or creed. If it's based off behavior, then it's essentially just the prison system.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't follow quite the same trajectory.
Well, no, I mean as the original concentration camps, yeah.
Tyler says is that he is listening to us while rewriting the latest draft of his film script.
Good for you, Tyler.
Good on you, Tyler. Keep on working, keep on writing.
Keep on keeping on.
One page after the other.
Yep.
5 pages a day.
Yep. Or
a week, and you'll have a script relatively quickly.
Yep.
I'm not going to do the actual maths on that.
You're trying to steal C. Robert Cargill's
Oh, I don't give a shit about
quote
C.
there.
Robert
You're
Cargill.
clearly trying to pass it off as your own wisdom. In the previous episode of the show, you read out the tweet from C. Robert Cargill.
Yeah. No, well, that's my rule. 5 pages. That's what I like to do just per writing session when I'm in the zone. 5 pages.
Well, I got a couple of shout-outs. Callum McDonald is evidently a listener, and he commented that he would love to hear us do a film review of the movie The Dead Don't Die, directed by Jim Jarmusch.
Oh, okay, I have seen this.
You have seen it? That's good, because I haven't.
Yeah, so I can... so it's an interesting... So Jim Jarmusch is essentially a weird, arty film director. A critically acclaimed, weird, arty film director. I believe maybe his most famous film is Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, about the rapping hip-hop samurai hitman.
Yeah, I think
with Forrest Whitaker.
I
You've
saw
probably
that.
seen that.
It was terrible. It's a real turd, that one.
And then he also did Dead Man with Johnny Depp. And he's done a few collaborations with Bill Murray, including The Dead Don't Die. Now, The Dead Don't Die is kind of in the vein of the original Romero zombie films, like Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead and that sort of thing. And essentially, zombies start taking over a small town. The twist, and I don't think it's a twist, well, it's a twist as in it's never been fucking done before in a zombie film. It's been done in other films.
Well, are you going to spoil this for people?
Not really.
Is it an old movie?
Yeah, it's like been out for like 5 years or something.
Right.
So if you want to watch this film, then stop. Well, no, you can listen. I mean, basically what happens is there's this zombie invasion. There's these two police officers that are kind of investigating it, and they kind of react to it in a very wry, deadpan sort of way. Bill Murray is quite funny, and Adam Driver, otherwise known as Kylo Ren.
Emo
Kylo Ren, as we've mentioned several times in this podcast. Emo Kylo Ren. So he's not really an emo in this. He's just kind of a young police officer that's paired with the grizzled vet. And anyway, these zombies start popping up and eating people and killing people, and they're sort of investigating it. And it's really kind of interesting, but they're kind of just going along, and then one of them kind of keeps talking, and then the other one goes, "Is that part of the script?" He's like, "What do you mean, is that part of the script?" He's like, "Is that your line, or are we improvising here?" And they literally just kind of break the fourth wall and have a conversation, which is kind of like the two actors having a conversation about the scene that they're in. And then they kind of go back into the scene. And you go, what the fuck was that? And they have several of those moments. Then these moments kind of get more pronounced throughout the film. And this kind of idea in film has been done before, obviously winking at the camera, barreling the camera. I mean, we're quite a fan of this kind of thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And kind of self-referential jokes where you go, who would do this dumb thing that we're definitely doing in this film that you're watching right now? But this is one level above that. And it's also unclear in that scene particularly whether or not they really were just continuing after a take. And was Bill Murray just fucking with Adam Driver? And then somehow Jim Jarmusch, being the weird arty director, goes, hey, I think we're onto something here, guys. Where we just kind of riff off this script that I've actually written and go into this weird meta fourth wall breaking bits. And so that's probably the zombie film itself. There's nothing particularly original about it. The performances by both Adam Driver and Bill Murray are good, which is, because they're always good. And, Bill Murray is Bill Murray. It does have a slightly slow, lackadaisical pace, which Jim Jarmusch is actually famous for, which is kind of like just scenes kind of just really hanging. Really. Is it going to cut?
I hate that.
We're not going to cut. Are we moving on from this? We're not moving on.
Yeah.
Did
I like my feature films to be like TikTok
videos.
Length, it's just a compilation of TikTok videos.
Yeah, so it's not really my favorite zombie film. As a curiosity, it is interesting for this kind of fourth wall breaking shenanigans, and that's definitely what makes it unique. But it's almost like, did he plan that, or did he kind of stumble into that where he really just wanted to make a zombie film in the vein of a zombie film he enjoyed? But because he's this weird arty director, he has to put a weird arty spin on it. He couldn't just do that because then I'd be like, well, Jim Jarmusch, what are you doing? This is just a movie. It doesn't have your traditional weird arty spin on it. And then so they just started riffing in the car, and then suddenly it was like, okay, well, let's run with this.
I reckon he just
shoehorn it in.
I think he just forgot to edit it out. He just fucked up in the edit. They just like, yep, this is all good. That's the scene. Put it together, and then they're like, there's a whole conversation between the actors that you've got to cut out, and nobody noticed until now, and we're releasing it. Fuck. Oh well.
Well, he fucked up multiple times then, because it's not the only time that happens.
Well, it sounds like he's not a very good filmmaker, to be honest. So
he's like, that's the thing is like some filmmakers you go, man, this is brilliant, this is genius, and there's some filmmakers where you go, I don't like this, but I see how people could believe this to be amazing. It's just not my cup of tea. And then there's other filmmakers where you go, what the flying fuck? Why are we lauding this person? And perhaps he falls into that third category a little bit. At least this is my experience in the films that I have watched of his, which is I think about 3 or 4. I think he did another one called Broken Flowers. I could be wrong about that. If that's him, that's the one that's starring Bill Murray as well, and it's basically just Bill Murray neutrally looking at people for an entire film. But we decide what emotions are playing over this man, and it's like, well, no, we don't decide. He's not doing anything. He's literally just like, He's non-reacting to everything. I think it's called Broken Flowers. Anyway, I definitely don't recommend that film. I think that it's kind of the zombie one is kind of, the Dead Don't Die is kind of interesting, and has a few kind of entertaining moments, but overall it's still not an amazing film. I definitely don't recommend the one he did with Johnny Depp. I don't think, maybe it's called Dead Man, I'm not sure. And I don't really recommend Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai either.
No.
But I've heard a few people like in my circle sort of be like, oh, it's so brilliant, isn't it?
I didn't really.
So genius. And I was like, no, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Well,
there you
thanks.
go.
Thank you, Callum.
There you go, Callum.
And
want any more movie reviews? Just sing
let us
out,
know.
and I'll break it down in depth.
And thank you for outing yourself as a Sifty150 listener.
Yep.
Because I don't think we've had any listener questions from you before, so thank you. We look forward to next week's one. I've also got another shout out. This is for our latest Patreon supporter.
Yep.
Chuck Black.
The man.
Yeah, I always wonder the same thing when I think about Chuck Black. Do you remember what it is, Guy?
Yeah. How many Chucks could a woodchuck fuck if a woodchuck could fuck blacks? Right?
No, that's not it. No, it's how many Chucks. It's how many Chucks could Chuck Black fuck if Chuck Black could fuck Chucks? He's fucking shoes. There's no woodchucks. There's just a Chuck Blacks.
No blacks.
He's not fucking blacks either. Whatever
He
that
might
means.
be.
He might be fucking black Chucks. They're shoes and he's fucking them.
Yeah, well, anyway.
So yeah, shout out to Chuck Black.
Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, do appreciate that. Can you get the restream up?
Nah, I can't. It's not
Can't
working.
find it. Okay, cool. So we don't know if people are commenting on
Don't know.
Twitch.
Have no idea. We only
People
know.
are commenting on Twitch.
We only know if you comment on
It
YouTube.
was working before.
It was working before, but now I type it in and just don't want to start. I think we broke it. I think we broke it when we had
to
those
restart.
technical issues. Yeah.
Well, I did shoot my ad, so that's quite exciting. That went well. Hopefully it was funny. It was a full day shoot, and
Let's break down what a full day of an ad shooting involves for a principal cast member such as yourself.
well, so I arrived there at 10:30 a.m. Right,
Gentlemen's hours.
gentlemanly hours, yeah, and yet I arrived at this location that I wasn't even filming at. So they got me to show up there before they'd even moved to the other location, the location that I was actually filming at. So I arrived there at 10:30 a.m. and then I think I actually sat down and started filming something around 2:30 or 3.
Yep,
probably.
classic. They like to keep you in suspense.
Yeah.
What they like to do is any ad you ever work on, they definitely like to keep you for at least 3 to 4 hours before you actually end up start doing anything.
Yeah.
And that's not because you need 3 or 4 hours of makeup.
No.
It's just because they just say, we'd like to have you here.
Yeah.
Hey, we're paying you. You might as well be
might
here.
As well be here, yeah.
We definitely don't need you, and that's quite clear from the schedule we've lined up. But
From the fact that we're not even at the location
we're at
using
the wrong
you at.
location,
Yeah.
so you can absolutely be sure we don't need you, but we'd love to have you here.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just sit there, guys.
You just sit there with
and
your dick in your hand.
chat amongst yourselves. And Harley, please put your dick away. I'm not telling you
take,
again.
Take it out of your hand.
Harley, take your dick out of your hand. I'm not telling you
And
again.
don't give me any of this shit about edging being your miracle thing to being a good actor or something.
Yeah.
Just I don't buy it. This is gross.
This is gross and it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
So I showed up then, had lunch before we'd even filmed anything.
Love it.
Showed up, went changed locations.
What did you have for lunch?
They had a sort of a burger, build your own burger
love
sort of
it.
situation.
Build your own burger.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then we finally sort of got into the filming. Now, keeping in mind that this is a 60-second ad with a 30-second version, and that my scene is only one scene amongst multiple scenes within this ad. So it's not like there's just one scene and I'm the main guy in it or anything like that. There's multiple things happening, and I'm just one sort of small cog in this machine.
Yeah.
And yet I was still filming from sort of 2:30 until 10 p.m. at night. We wrapped at 10 p.m. So I was there for close to 12 hours, 11 and a half hours.
Yeah.
But really to do literally 8 words. And we just did, once we were filming, we just did the same, scene again and again and again and again from a few different angles.
Yep.
And in different ways. And I guess because they've got the money,
Yeah.
and they've got the time, and they're shooting a 60-second ad, and they've got 12 hours to do it. They really just take their time to get everything perfect. Get everything ideal and exactly. They'll redo it if the lighting was a millisecond too late on the changing of light at a certain time or something like that.
Well, let's talk about that. So, when did you actually roll on your lines?
Well, I think the first time that I got my probably around 3 p.m. or so, we had a wide shot, so it wasn't my close up or anything like that. So maybe like 3 p.m. or something like that, and then basically just sat around with lots of gaps and lots of breaks in between until 10 p.m. Filming this sort of the same thing kind of again and again. And there was a bit of improv, which I was completely unprepared for. And where they just kind of just threw around a wee bit of improv, but not too much of it, luckily. It went all right. I feel like I held my own. I wasn't too bad. But I probably could have benefited from some prep the day before of preparing my improvs beforehand, which is the trick.
So you got your wide shot in at 3.
Yeah.
But of all your angles took until 10.
Yeah.
To get.
Yeah. And so most of them...
that's just them moving the camera closer, moving it around.
Yeah, changing the light. There's a few things they had to do with the light.
Light's got to be changed.
Yeah. So, and I basically just spent most of the time sitting around chatting to one of the extras.
Chatting up extras.
Just chatting to...
Scoffing lollies, no doubt.
Chatting to multiple people.
Did you scoff any lollies?
Not really lollies, because on the last film set I was on, I was eating a fruit burst, and a large chunk of my tooth fell off.
Yeah, you got to be careful about that.
Into the fruit burst.
Yeah.
And then I had to go to the dentist and spend a couple of $100 getting that tooth fixed. So this time I just ate the seaweed and chips and other stuff like that. Not really the lollies. And I did sit around and chat to a Latina extra. And we had some good Spanish speaking, so that was nice. That really helped kill the time.
Now, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Choosy Lover on Twitch.
Yep.
Who said, "Is this the fart ASMR channel? I fart for a living and enjoy the craft. I'm afraid you have come to the wrong place, as we only fart sporadically."
Yeah.
Now, he wants a guy on left to fart on the guy on right.
So, does he mean camera left?
Yeah,
it's
unclear. Unclear.
I assume he wants you're on the left from his perspective. So he wants you
I
to fart on me.
You. Yeah, so fart now.
I thought that he'd want me to fart on you so that the mullet could blow in the wind.
He said fart. He said fart command #fart.
Yeah.
He then said you should just fart and poop. Pooped into your pants. I think he means poop, but he misspelled it.
Poot is funnier.
And then he put yeds because he misspelled yes.
And he's very drunk. Probably.
So, sorry, Mr. Choosy Lover, but we cannot engage with your farting shenanigans. This is a serious podcast. Very serious. And we would never think to fart on it.
Well, if I need a fart during the show at any point, I promise I'll get up and fart into the microphone.
Okay.
Guy's microphone, because I don't want mine to smell like farts.
As long as it's your microphone, because really I don't want those feces particles.
Yeah.
We understand. We're glad that we've made this clear. Now, Jared...
Well, there's a few layers between, your mic and my feces particles, because I've got a pair of panties on, and then I've got my undies, and then I've got my jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got the mic sock. So
the mic sock will protect me.
Yeah, so it'll probably be okay.
So Jared asked, was it on location or studio? Looked like a daytime scene.
Yes.
Well, was it? I'm assuming it was in the studio.
How does Jared know that it was a daytime scene?
Maybe he saw.
He might be thinking of my audition photo. My audition.
I think he saw a photo.
Yeah, that was my audition photo, which was taken during the day. Now, as it happens, yes, it was a daytime scene. But it was mostly filmed at night, and they just made it look like
the old classic.
The old classic, the old day for night.
Hey, look, we've got 100% time to shoot this in the day, but let's go over and spend a lot more money on lights to shoot it at night rather than in the day.
Yeah, and then so it was not a studio.
Money.
It wasn't a studio. It was on location in a house on the North Shore, out there with the plebs and animals.
Okay, so you're in a house. You're in a North Shore house.
Yeah.
You weren't outside the house?
No. I was in the kitchen at the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how many actors were you acting opposite?
there was 4 more, so it was 5
Right.
of us total, and then a few extras.
Now, what type of adjustments was asked of your line?
Actually, none. No, the only thing that they did ask
Yeah.
was they sort of cut out the second half of my line.
Timing.
Yeah, they sort of did a few versions where basically I just did the first half of my line, not the second half. I don't know if they'll use that or not. And now I do recall that on this podcast last week, you were like, "Now do your research, Harley, and make sure you find out
What
what camera they're shooting on."
yeah.
And I pointed out that it's irrelevant to me because I'm there to meet people, and cameras come and go, and technology is always changing. And I don't ask the makeup artist what kind of makeup she's using, so I'm not going to ask the DP what kind of camera he's using because it's all irrelevant to me. But what I did do was, against all rules, I got my cell phone out on set and I took a picture of the camera.
Okay.
And it is an Arty.
Well, no, that's the lens.
Oh, is that the lens?
But
So
it still could be an Arty.
yeah, well, I thought it was, but that was all I couldn't actually see a brand apart from the Arty. Just I'm giving Guy my phone now to look at the picture, but just don't swipe left or right because
Whatever I do.
you'll see my dick pics.
Yeah, so it is a little bit hard to tell what the camera body is.
Yeah.
The lens on the front is an Arty Signature Prime 25mm, which I believe something like $20,000 per lens.
The rig was a DJI one.
So it's on a Steadicam, sort of not Steadicam.
This thing was a remote control so that they could spin the camera from person to person, a la that 70s show when they get high in the basement. Exactly that. Yeah.
Did you strike up a rapport with the other actors?
Yeah, I mean, we had to spend 10 hours hanging out, but I didn't really feel like I formed a bond with anybody.
Did you recognize them from anything?
No, didn't know any of them. I was the most famous person there for sure.
So really, it was just flirting with the extra.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I mean, I did chat to the actors all day as well, obviously. Because we had our robes on to sort of so that you could tell that we were above and better than the extras. The extras didn't get robes, but we do. So I wore my robe all day, even when it wasn't cold, just to really sort of assert my dominance.
$30,000 US.
Oh yeah,
for that lens.
For that lens, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the 18, so the 25 might be a bit cheaper, but still. So you rocked around with your robe.
Yeah. Scoffed junk food. Chatted with the extras. I chatted with them.
And clearly you got your performance right.
Yeah.
Because no adjustments were required.
No, they seemed pretty happy. There was no big things. In fact, everybody else was getting more direction than me because I was just doing it perfectly, I guess.
So
either I was doing it perfectly or there was just no saving me.
Yeah,
we can't waste time on this guy.
And that almost made a call internally that they were going to cut you.
Yeah, so they're like, oh yeah, just let him say whatever.
And there
we're going
is
to cut him out anyway.
Absolutely a chance that you could be cut out of this ad.
Oh, it could happen.
But the beauty of it is you will still be paid for it.
Yeah.
It's just not as great to gloat about being cut out of an ad.
Well, yeah, it will be kind of embarrassing if after all this time I've been telling everybody, hey, I got an ad, and then they're all like, hey, your ad came out. You were just an extra. I sort of saw you in the background in one of the shots. You were just an extra.
Yes, well, which reminds me of my infamous countdown ad where I sprayed ketchup all over a poor kid and ruined his costume a few times because the ketchup bottle was cheap.
Yeah.
But no one believed me and thought I was just really uncoordinated.
Really bad
and
at
was
squirting.
such a bad actor that I could not squirt ketchup naturally on a hot dog.
Yeah.
So anyway, embarrassing, ruined many takes, delayed the production at least an hour.
Yeah.
With these resets.
Costume changes. Yeah.
And then they had to flip the shot in post because
and it looks weird in the
final
final
looks
ad.
weird. It makes absolutely no sense because of this whole ketchup squirting debacle.
Yeah. Well,
I was subsequently dropped by my agent a short time afterward.
If you guys would like to see that ad, I have uploaded it to the Pigville Productions YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, youtube.com/Pigville and the number 2. That's our main YouTube channel. If you go there and click on that, you'll click on playlists. And on playlists, I think it's called Harley in Commercials. And I've put all my commercials there, but actually I put your one in there as well.
You just added me in for good measure.
Yeah.
So in that ad, I am in a wide shot and a sort of a close-up. Maybe not a close-up, like a wide and a medium, actually. I don't think I'm in any close-up. My hand the wrong way is in a close-up.
Mm.
So it goes like a wide shot of me, you can kind of see me in the distance, and then kind of a medium shot. I think I'm talking with a kid and thing, and then he runs over to get this hot dog, and then the hot dog ketchup is squirted on correctly the wrong way because they crossed the line when they did it.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get a better take because I'd fluffed it so many times and they had to move on. And anyway, so I'm featured in it. I'm still in it. Like, they did shoot a couple of extra shots of me, but they weren't required, right? Whereas my partner, my wife in the ad, was reduced to her ass walking down an aisleway of a supermarket. So she literally, had that whole Joey Tribbiani joke in Friends where it's just his ass filling in for Al Pacino's. But it was her ass. She wasn't a stand-in ass. It was her ass, tried and true, representing, doing the best acting it possibly could as it walked down this place. But that's all they got was her ass. And that was her big moment.
Yeah. I got cut from an ad I did one time, like a low budget, like a charity ad.
I love a great ass. A great ass.
So is that Pacino?
I love a great ass.
Yeah.
So we tied it all together with Pacino.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, I got cut from an ad once. It was not long after I'd had a motorbike crash, and then they were like, "Do you want to act for free?" They were like, "We'll give you like a petrol voucher or something, but it's for a charity. Do you want to act for free in this ad for a charity?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right, sure, let's do it." But I still had a limp, a bit of a gangster swagger from my motorbike crash, and so I had to walk down the aisle. I had to walk down the aisle of this church at a funeral, and then kind of like acknowledge somebody and sit beside them, and I didn't really have to do too much, but I was kind of one of the like 5 or so like main kind of cast, and everybody else was an extra, and I didn't really have to do anything. I was barely in it anyway, but I got completely cut in the final product. You can't see me at all. I'm not even like in one of the wide shots of the audience or anything of the people at the church or anything. You can't see me at all, and all I can think is that it's because I was limping down the aisle, and they were like, "Yeah, that limp is really distracting. Let's cut that limpy guy out. Let's cut the limper out of this." So, I got cut.
Because God forbid we show someone with any form of disability walking.
Yeah.
That's way too distracting.
Yeah.
And those people don't exist in real life.
No.
We need to. We can't have them distracting from this, all the perfect people in this ad.
Yeah, we should take those people and put them in some sort of camp. They can concentrate on getting better.
They can concentrate on their limp and improving that limp.
Yeah.
So it's not noticeable. They cut you out.
Yeah. So I got cut out of that one.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, that's cool. That's easy money, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is easy money.
See, to me, I would be much more nervous if you'd been asked for 20 different variations of the line, because that's when you start, because you go
questioning yourself.
They're not happy.
Yeah.
Although sometimes they are, and they're just fucking around because it's ads. And that's what they do on ads, is they essentially fuck around because they have all the time in the world to fuck around. So they can get every possible variation and then just decide later.
Yeah.
You know?
No, the director seemed happy enough. Like, I had several dealings with her, and, she was never like, she just seemed very... It was pretty relaxed, really. The whole thing was very smooth, very relaxed. There was lots of time for everything. There was no... people getting stressy, it was just pretty chill. The whole thing was a pretty chill shoot. Speaking of shoots, I did also have a meeting with a young buck who I mentioned last week, who wants to shoot a $25,000 short film.
Which is a tasty budget for a short film.
Yeah, well, I gave him my draft budget, not using all of his money, well and truly under on that $25,000, and he was loving it. He was loving it. He was loving what I thought that we could probably make that for. And so I rounded it down to like a $20,000 budget, because I don't think we really need the full 25, but it's there if we need the other 5. We need it. But
contingencies,
including
good producer always builds in contingency.
Well, my $20,000 budget has a $1,000 contingency in it already. So actually, he's got a $6,000 contingency. Plus, he said that he's got a wee bit of extra money set aside as his own contingency.
There you go.
So
well,
actually,
you better continge for my producer's fee on that one,
well,
my friend.
my budget, the producer fee I put was $2,000, which you said last week. You were like, well, I put $2,000 for that.
Yeah.
And I went back and I looked at Harrow, our web series, and to see what my fee was on that, it was $2,000.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess, $2,000. It's all right. I mean, it is definitely low, but it's not. It's justifiable. You can sort of be like, well, I mean, it is a $2,000 job. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And so, but he sort of said, oh, well, he seemed quite happy with the budget. So he might, there might be some wiggle room there for me to squeeze out a slightly bigger producer fee.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening there. He's pretty keen. I haven't actually confirmed though that I'm going to do it because I want to know about a little bit more about the dates that he wants to do it, and I want to have a meeting with our dear friend, our production manager, Tanya Wiley. And so I'm meeting with her this week, and we're going to chat about this project.
I thought she moved away.
Yeah, but she's back up for a week or so.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of the work she can do from anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
So it's organising and call sheets and those types of things. So so she can do it from wherever she is. So yeah, I'm going to have a meeting with her. And then I'm going to go back to him and be like, cool, yeah, let's do it on these dates if that all works. The big concern is that I think he's underestimating, because he's a student filmmaker, he's underestimating how long the post-production is going to take. And so he's talking about filming at the end of October or the beginning of November, which is good for me because that's when after the film festival I work for is all finished. So it's quite a good time for me.
Yeah.
But it is part of his university. It's a student film. It's part of it's got a uni deadline type thing, which is like he reckons late January he's got to have it done. And I was like, well, it's not too bad if you film at the beginning of November or end of October. He's got a couple of months there, a few months to get it done. But I was also thinking like, well, if we're going to be hitting up, our friends, if I'm going to be hitting up our, post-production connections, and it's over Christmas time, around that period, they might not actually be available really to do much work on a low budget, student film unless they're sort of going to charge a lot,
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just a little bit concerned about that because part of his, as a student, his job is he's got to edit it as well. That's one of the rules.
Well, how long's the script?
14 pages, I think. 13, 14 pages. And so he's got to edit it himself. And then once the edit's done, you've got to get the score composed.
Yeah, well, I've just lived through this.
The color grade. You've got to get the sound mix. You've got to get any ADR that is or isn't required, And if this is happening over Christmas, which is, traditionally a time when the film industry goes a bit quiet because everybody's like, fuck it, I'm not working.
Yeah.
And so it could cause issues for him.
Well, yeah, also I've just finished a short, or still finishing. It's not actually even finished yet.
I wanted to ask you about that because it's now June 28th, and the deadline for Show Me Shorts Film Festival is July 1st.
I thought it was July 8th.
You keep telling me that, but last week I made it very clear to you that it's July 1st.
Better look into that.
Yeah, it's 3 days from now.
Better look into that. Let's just bring up my calendar to see if I'm mixing up deadlines. Let's have a little look-see.
Because, that it would be
Oh,
good
here we go. I'm not an idiot.
No,
I've got it.
In fact, you put it a day earlier.
To remind me to
yourself.
submit.
He's a genius. The man's a genius.
I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen there? I will submit the current version, which is the almost finished version.
Yeah. If you put up a slate at the beginning or something, you can just sort of say there's a few tweaks being done.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the final product.
They're really pretty negligible tweaks, to be honest.
Yeah.
So the color grade is done.
Yeah.
The visual effects are done. The music is done, and it's just a little bit. So and a temp sound design has been done, but there's still a few things that need doing in the sound design. In fact, that reminds me, I should probably get you to do a little voice cameo as soon as I cut you out.
Oh, absolutely. Got to earn my credits.
Yeah, you got to earn your acted in this film, even though it's just your voice with very minimal acting.
That is highly offensive to voice actors everywhere, and they're going to tune out from the show now.
Well, don't get me wrong. Some voice acting requires a lot of acting, but these two particular roles, which are essentially answering machines, is maybe not the most taxing of voice acting work.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm keen. and then I can get it on my IMDb.
Yeah. Yeah, starring Harley Neville.
Yeah, that reminds me. I realised that Jared Murray's film.
Yeah.
I don't think it's on IMDb.
Yeah, Jared, you need
What's
to.
going on, mate?
Jared,
I was thinking about. I was in the shower the other day.
come on, Jared.
I was in the shower the other day thinking about
you
Jared.
edited, you produced it, as you do.
And
I think about him. I was talking about him yesterday.
Yeah.
He didn't know that, but
I was
shout out, Jared.
I was thinking about him in the shower.
I was having a chat about you. I was like, Jared, the man, could be doing BCam on The Family.
Yeah.
He could be over at a time when we could do it, and that would be just amazing. And I then went on to, is it exalt? Exalt his praises. Is that the right? Exalt.
Sing his praises.
Well, yes, sing it, but
exalt his him.
Exalt his pedigree as a filmmaker. Anyway, I basically was like, I was like, he's the dude that you can give a camera to, and he's just going to come up with a whole bunch of creative shit. You don't even have to worry about him. Or if we need a specific piece of coverage, he can go and get that and totally understand what is required. So we could just have him doing all that, was exactly what I said about him. So yeah, Jared, come on, Jared. Where's this film though? That Harley's in.
Well, I mean,
not IMDb listed.
Yeah, I don't know where the final film ended up. It's
this hilarious.
The one where I played a gay rapist.
Yeah, and you didn't realize you were a gay rapist until you got to set
and read the script.
When you actually read the script properly. So you never read the script properly. You said yes to the role.
Yeah,
completely unprepared. You showed up. Then you read some in between your dialogue, like you read the bits in between your dialogue.
Yeah.
Before you'd just been looking at your dialogue.
Yeah.
And then you hadn't really picked up that there was a serious gay raping scenario in between those lines of dialogues that you were working on.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then I had to do a gay rape scene where I forced myself upon a young man.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Where is that man now?
Still traumatized, no doubt. But
retired.
That should really be on IMDb. But
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I could be wrong, but I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, wait a minute. That's not on IMDb.
Yeah.
Did all that gay raping for nothing.
In the role that you portrayed.
It's probably the name of the episode. Gay rape in concentration camps.
Oh, boy. We've gone back to 2011, Pigville.
Yeah.
We've reverted back.
Just offensive for the sake of it.
Yeah, just offensive, like just shockingly offensive, pushing the line. It's because it's cool. Because it's cool. It's cool to push the line because we're edgy comedians. We're so funny that we love to push the envelope. That's our thing. Yeah. That's what we do. Yeah. We're not highly offensive. Yeah. We're edgy. Edgy comedians.
Edgelords.
So anyway.
Edgeville.
So what were we talking about before we got off on that Jared Murray tangent?
Nothing. I'm all out of notes.
Oh, okay, right. Well, I will just mention a couple of things before. I am getting pretty hungry. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm really hungry.
I've got a party to attend.
Yeah.
I'm going to go attend, after this, I'm attending a leaving party for a friend of mine, a friend and colleague of mine. So I'll be heading along to a bar and having a bit of a lock-in, I'd say, because I reckon the bar itself will be closing soon enough, and then we'll have a few goodbye drinks for this dude.
I've had a chicken wrap, singular, today. So
I'm guessing there's going to be food at this thing. But
to me, that's the start of a film right there.
What is?
What you just described you're doing tonight.
A lock-in.
So you're going to a bar to celebrate someone going away. You're heading off. It's going to be a big emotional farewell. Yeah. All the friends around. Yeah. And then
one of them's a zombie.
Or I was going to say the zombies outside attack, or the COVID virus that has turned people into zombies. Yeah. And you've in the lock-in, you've got to survive. Or the aliens that react to the sound of noise have started crawling about outside, and suddenly you got to stay quiet in the bar with a bunch of drunk people. This is genius, man. This is writing itself.
Well, to be honest, it is good because it's one location.
One location.
And we have access to the location.
The bar will already exist. You can shoot there in the time off. Yeah. I feel like we've just thought of our next movie.
Well, I like the sound of that. The lock-in. Yeah.
And it's also, there's lots of rich character development there because it's a group of friends and one of them is leaving A lot of, I guess, perhaps broken promises, a lot of unresolved issues and feelings between other people.
And there can be sex.
There can be sex scenes.
Because it's a bunch of sexy bar hospo people, like, all drinking together.
The lock-in.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
What I like about it is you don't have to dress the bar, you just go to the bar.
Yeah.
All you've got to have is the CG, the Angry Birds.
Yeah.
Angry Birds outside.
What script will be used for?
Well, I've already written that. I just wrote it. I just laid it out.
Yeah. Just going to transcribe this episode of the podcast and it's written.
Done.
That's it.
So anyway, speaking of movies and being locked in, I did watch a premiere of a new independent New Zealand feature film called Buzzcut.
Yeah, so I was going to go to that premiere. Did you go to the Academy and watch it? Yeah, so I was going to, but I was working until 5 p.m. and the premiere was at 4 p.m. and I was like, bugger, I'm not going to make that. Because I actually thought it was my friend's film. I thought that my friend had directed it, but it turns out he was just cast in it, and I don't know the director.
Yeah. So who was your friend?
Ashton. His name's Ashton. He's a dear friend.
Good friend. Best friends.
Ashton Brown.
Ashton Brown.
Yeah.
Who is... So I watched Ashton Brown's performance in this film, and I will say that he was quite hilarious. Very charismatic.
Well, he's a comedian. He's good at comedy as well.
He played the funny fat guy.
Yeah.
The funny, pervy fat guy.
He's actually a lot skinnier now.
No, he's much skinnier. He looks amazing now.
Yeah.
And it must be quite depressing for him to look back on this role where he's basically playing a gross fat guy.
Yeah.
And he's not gross, nor is he fat anymore.
Yeah.
You know, in real life. But yet here he is. And you do feel like, as the funny Jack Black fat guy, which he's cast in, you can feel like now people have seen him do that. They'll be like, well, look, mate, I'd love to cast you, but at the moment, you're just not fat enough.
Yeah. You're not fat.
Because we all know that you're not funny if you're not fat. And you being slim now is not going to work. I need that fat back on so you can both be funny and fat and the guy in this film.
And did you go...
But he was really good in it. I thought he was very funny. He had lots of great one-liners and some... Just stole the show here and there. He sort of played second to the... Well, no, he was one of the leads. And even though, like, essentially his character was borderline #MeToo, and his character was borderline, like, a pervert to the point of uncomfortable, as in, can we do these types of jokes anymore? Style thing.
Yeah.
He himself was quite such an endearing presence and managed to walk that line by being this gross fat perv, comedically, but still having enough sort of heart and being funny enough that you were like, I forgive you for all that heinous stuff that you said. And
not you, though.
Hashtag I'm just laughing now. Hashtag funny fat guy.
Yeah.
So he did a great job. And it was this very unique concept. So what I really liked about it was that essentially it's a slasher film about a beekeeper. And you've never seen that before. And a beekeeper outfit is actually quite creepy.
Yeah.
And so...
The bees!
The bees! Ah, my face, the bees! Yeah, so it was actually... There was actually very few bee sightings in the whole film. But the beekeeper was doing all this killing, right? And that's really quite unique. And Buzzcut, you got the pun, and there's lots of bee puns within it, which is all quite genius. And I did think it was genius, the concept, the premise.
And did you go to that film because of the sales agent?
So the sales agent in question is a sales agent that we know that also represents the zombie film. Now, we've complained about our sales agent many times on this podcast. This sales agent is not that sales agent. In fact, that sales agent is the only person to give us any money for the zombie film.
The only place we made money from was from this sales agent.
Yeah. So yes, part of that did pique my curiosity. I actually originally was invited to it via one of the people that's in it and is also like contributing as a sort of a assistant producer role. Liam, who I met when I was doing a filming job, and we just sort of randomly got to talking about gear, and then that went into this Buzzcut thing. I don't know the director. I think his name is Martin Renner.
That sounds right.
And so I don't actually know him at all. I was also curious.
Wait a minute, Martin Renner, isn't that the guy that we met from Christchurch at the Big Screen Symposium? Is his name Martin?
Not sure. So anyway, that was cool to see. Now I will say, because look, you never want to speak bad about indie films, right? When you're an indie filmmaker, because there's a high risk that someone will then turn around and speak bad of you. And there's nothing worse in this world than receiving criticism for things you worked hard on. We really don't like it. But I will say, I was very dissatisfied with the focus pulling on this film. So it was very rarely in focus. A lot of the time it was like almost in, but not in. Sometimes it was like there had just been no consideration given to it being in at any point, as if they just gave up on the idea of focus. So that's my kind of...
Well, that's the problem with it. You got all these fancy cameras. Just grab yourself a handy cam, all auto everything.
All auto.
Harley Neville, all auto everything.
I feel like they should have all autoed everything if they couldn't get focus. So that was my sort of main kind of pet peeve about it, apart from maybe some of these jokes being a little borderline, and also the fact that they did call themselves the first New Zealand, horror comedy sort of thing.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it was exactly that word, but it was like, I was like, look, I don't want to, rain on your parade or nothing, but we actually did this whole horror comedy thing, back in 2015.
Well, we shot it in 2010.
Yeah, but I mean, it came out in
2011. And before us, there was, of course, Brain Dead.
Well, that was my next point. It's like, look, I don't want to remind you, but there's a little guy, this Oscar winner called Peter Jackson, who did not one but two of these films over here.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure we can really say the first ever. That's a real stretch.
Yeah, Heavenly Creatures, hilarious.
So anyway, so I watched that, and
Frighteners is horror comedy as well.
Yeah, but not splatter, gross out horror comedy.
Yeah.
Also, our friend Carlton Lang was in this. Green Bean from Immy the Vegan.
Yeah.
So I was actually sitting next to him and heard his laughter and commentary throughout.
Yeah.
And I almost wanted to lean over to him and go, "Look, mate, shut the fuck up, because you're ruining your own movie. You're ruining your own fucking movie, right?
Yeah.
You get me? I'm trying to watch your movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to appreciate you on the fucking screen, and all I can hear is you right next to me in real life, not shutting the fuck up."
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Shut the fuck up. Let me decide if it's brilliant. Let me just watch it, please.
Yeah.
There's a whole theater of people here.
Yeah.
Carlton, great dude. So just.
Great dude.
Well, look,
Tell him to shut the fuck up.
I wasn't the only one that had wanted him to be quiet, but it was awesome to see him. He was really funny in it. He was very hilarious. But certainly Ashton probably stole the show, along with someone else who you may know.
No audition for the Nevs on that.
Oh, well,
on
we're
Buzzcut.
going to come to this, but a man by the name of Matt Hicks.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I know Matt Hicks.
Yeah, would you like to elaborate?
I mean, I've met him once in real life.
Would you want to elaborate on that meeting?
We met one time and he asked, when I gave him some tips and advice about his script.
Do you want to elaborate even further on that?
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, I would say a few things.
Okay.
So I got to have a good chat with him, and he's currently making his own independent feature film.
Yeah.
Which is in post-production of, called The Tavern.
Yeah.
Now, The Tavern is essentially about a sort of an old-style sort of pub, which is, full of tradition and, friends hanging out and blah, blah, blah. And then kind of a rich property developer comes in and wants to bulldoze it and, fuck it all up.
So you've got to save the pub.
Yeah, got to save the pub. I think that was roughly the story. He's probably not going to be. He does listen to the podcast sometimes. And
Shout out, Matt Hicks.
And he will not be happy if I got that partially wrong, which I may have.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's in post on that now. He's in post-production hell. But he's been through it, as we have, and he said, look, I've spoken with Harley several times, and I actually had a meeting with Harley before I embarked on this, looking for sort of tips and advice.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that Harley Neville was very jaded in this meeting. He was very much like, look, it's going to be a fucking mission. It's going to be fucking hard. Like, really, I'd just give up now. and that was your sort of, you know, it wasn't like, good on you, mate, you can do it. Like, get in there, just get stuck in just like us. You can do it. It was like, bro, it's going to be the fucking mission. You're in for a fucking hell. You're going to hate it by the end of it. You're going to want to kill yourself. Was more your...
I don't really think that's fair.
Was more your vibe.
I think I know what you'd be referring to, though, which is that, I did tell him, obviously. I was like, like, I mean, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be more work than you think.
Yep.
You know, because he hadn't done a feature before.
Fair commentary.
I was like, it's going to be more work than you think.
Yep.
And I gave him the concept of preemptive pickups.
He did mention that,
which he seemed quite chuffed on, the preemptive pickups.
He did mention that. Well, that's a TM, Pigville Productions, copyright Pigville Productions.
Yeah.
We have coined preemptive pickups, and we have a trademark on that. If you want to do preemptive pickups,
you need to pay us.
You have to pay us a fee. For us coming up with that great idea.
And what preemptive pickups is, to clarify, is you look at the script and in the build up to the shoot, rather than having to squeeze in every single scene into your 2-week shoot or your 3-week shoot, you go and you have a look at, you go, well, hang on, what can we shoot that just requires one actor and one location that we don't want to have to fuck around with on the day? We don't want to have to get this shot of this actor walking into his house. You know, we can just go get that anytime. So let's just set aside a weekend to go and get a bunch of these little scenes that are quick and easy and get them out of the way so that we don't need to schedule them in the main shoot. And it's the type of stuff that you would drop if you were running out of time on a shoot. You'd go, oh, we'll come back as a pickup and we'll get that later. But if you do those pickups first, preemptively, well, then you don't need to. It's really it's genius, right? So I gave him that, and he seemed to quite enjoy that, and I don't know, but I guess maybe he went on to use it.
Free piece of wisdom.
Yeah,
from the maestro.
And you know, we did talk about various things, but one thing was that he was like, so like, you know, maybe you could audition to be in it.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like,
into that.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, nah.
Homie, don't play that.
I'm not going to. But to be honest, I do think there was a slight miscommunication there because probably it came across like I was just like, nah, I'm not being involved. I don't care about your project. It's too low budget. I'm not keen to be involved.
Yeah. That's how it came across.
In reality, what I was actually saying was, I'm not auditioning for a low budget, unpaid project. I'm not excited enough to be going out and learning lines, and I was real busy at the time as well. I had something going on, so I was too busy to be learning lines just for an audition. But if he had been like, well, would you do this role and we will pay for your because I'd have to leave Auckland as well, so that's the other thing. I was like, so I'd have to leave out of Auckland, go down to like Cambridge somewhere, you know, and whatever, spend money, stay there, all that type of thing. You know, and I have to audition for it. Nah, like I'm too busy. I don't want to do that. But if he had been like, do you want this role, and we'll pay you for these things, pay for your accommodation and all that type of thing, I could have been open to the idea. But instead, he was like, oh yeah, so maybe you could audition for it. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm not really keen to audition for a low budget.
Don't play that.
I don't want to audition for like a low budget film that may or may not ever get finished. You know. Yeah. Because I've been in a bunch of low budget feature films that didn't get finished, and I don't really mind.
Dr. Livingstone.
I don't really mind being in them. Which one was that? Dr. Livingstone. Was that Jared's one?
No, Internacionum.
Oh, Internacionum, that's right. Yes. And so yeah, like I was like, I just don't want to audition for these low budget films that may or may not ever come out, basically. But I wish him the best, and I wasn't like, I didn't think he couldn't do it or anything like that. No. I just wasn't that keen to audition for an unpaid role in that filming a low budget feature film in another city.
Do you not want to know who replaced you?
Ashton?
Carl Urban. No, but close. Josh McKenzie.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Well, he's an actual working actor,
right?
Who was?
I didn't even know what role it would be for.
You were, I think it was the villain he was thinking of you for.
Yeah,
and so this guy, Josh McKenzie, he was actually the star of North Spur, which you did see.
Yeah.
But he's also been the star of I don't know, not Outrageous Fortune, but Filthy Rich. I think he was the star of Filthy Rich. So he's actually been in a bunch of stuff. So look at the cachet and pedigree of this man versus you and what they thought of you.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't even deign to audition for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I ain't auditioning for low budget stuff.
I just hope I hope it's real. I really hope it's really good, and I really hope that role is really good. No, and I really hope you watch it and go fuck.
No, because like I say, I didn't want to not be in it.
Yeah,
I just
I know.
wasn't really prepared
cool
to
for
go
school, though.
out of my way to audition for a role, for an unpaid role that's going to take months to shoot, and I'm going to have to come backwards and forwards from Cambridge a bunch of times.
Too cool for school.
It's just not really going to happen. Now, if it had been Auckland based, okay, all right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. But even then, I mean, how many low budget unpaid feature films can you do?
Hundreds.
Yeah, but not when they all take forever and don't necessarily go anywhere. Although, that being said, of all the no budget feature films that I've been in, right?
Yeah.
What has really helped me?
Ghost TV.
Ghost TV did get nominated for a MOA, the New Zealand Film Award. And that was cool. That was the first time I ever attended the MOAs, was with Ghost TV.
But now defunct MOAs don't exist anymore.
But did it help me? Did it help my career? I don't know. Maybe ever so slightly. I mean, it was a feature film.
Good practice.
Yeah, and it was great practice for I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
A little warm-up.
It is on IMDb as another feature film that I'm the lead in. So I think it's on IMDb. Maybe it's not on IMDb.
R.I.P. to the director.
Yeah.
Phil.
And so yeah, okay. And then Internationum, obviously that was, that's still not out and I doubt is ever coming out. Jared's film, it looked good and all that stuff, but I don't know where people can watch it. And I don't know
I
that
don't
it's really,
believe they can watch it anywhere currently.
I'm not sure it's not even IMDb. So,
but it is complete.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference between most indie films.
Yeah.
It did get completed.
Well, that's good, but if it's not on IMDb, then it didn't happen. And then, so the only thing left, right, is Bernie Rao's Killer Sofa. That was a resounding success. So I went along, I was in Bernie Rao's Killer Sofa. I am the person who puts his soul inside the sofa.
Spoiler alert.
It happens right at the beginning of the movie. It's literally the opening scene.
Okay.
It's very, very similar in that sense to the scene where that actor, whose name I forget right now, puts his soul into the Chucky doll.
Yep.
You know his name. What's his name?
Brad Dourif.
Yeah, that's the one. Brad Dourif. He puts his soul into the Chucky doll. Well, I'd put my soul into a sofa at the beginning.
So people
of the
can
movie.
fart on you for the rest of your existence.
Yeah, Mr. Choosy Lover will be happy about that on Twitch. And so yes, that was really, really worth it because now that film is out all around the world. It's all over the place. And I was in it, and I'm in the opening scene. It's all on the IMDb and all that. So it can pay off. It can pay off for sure.
So Matt Hicks is finishing up the tavern, and so we had a good chat and a catch up. But what I enjoyed most about that premiere was actually getting to talk to fellow independent filmmakers because I don't go out. I stay in this room. No light touches these walls. And I make things, and I do not communicate with the outside world, and I shut myself away. And if anyone tries to come near this place, I rebuke them and lock the doors. So I don't really necessarily get to just chat filmmaking with people. I like chatting filmmaking because I am a filmmaker, and I like hearing stories about how people have made things, because that interests me, because I also want to make things. And so it's also good when they all tell you how great you are, which they did.
That is nice.
Yeah. So because we're like the king, we are the king of independent films in New Zealand, having released 1.
3.
Yeah, 3. Soon to be 4. If you want to be technical about, if you want to take some mild leaps with the definition of feature films. But we've done it all. We've been there. We've done it. We bought the T-shirt. Next. Thank you very much. We know what we're talking about. We're titans of the industry, of the independent, low-budget, no-money industry. We are titans of that. And so it's cool to actually meet people that have watched our films and wish to follow in our footsteps. We have lit the way. We have lit the path. We have guided the indie filmmaking banner. We've brought it forward like the torch of the Olympics. We've taken it forward, carved our own path through, the malaise of boring regular funded films with money and convenience and time and all those things that we don't need because we're indie filmmakers. We've done it all without that stuff because we're extra resourceful. We're even more talented. If you think about finishing a feature film, and then you think about finishing an indie feature film, you essentially have to be 10 times more talented than the person that finished the feature film, because you had 10 times less resources to do exactly the same thing they did. You see my maths here?
I see it. Yep.
10 times. So we're 10 times more talented than any New Zealand filmmakers that you've seen come out. Oh, you got into Sundance, mate. Oh, that's great. We're still 10 times more talented than you. Oh, you got into that awesome festival. Oh, that's wonderful. Let me buy you beer. But we're actually essentially, if you do the maths, 10 times more talented than you are. And we have the maths to prove that. You know, on this podcast, I have done the maths, and I have shown and explained how the maths work. And we have shown quite clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, that we are 10 times better than all of you. So just take heart when your indie film maybe doesn't blow up like you think it will. Maybe it doesn't make you millions of dollars and launch you into the stratosphere. Feel comfortable, and comfortable in the knowledge that you are 10 times more talented than the guy that got all the funding that you didn't get. Assuming you both finished a feature film.
I feel like Matt Hicks wouldn't have thought I was a
jaded bitter a-hole.
I don't think he thought that.
No, I'm exaggerating. I am exaggerating. He was very complimentary.
I don't think he would have thought I was so jaded if I had been keen to audition for his film. But the rest of the conversation was not like, as far as I recall, was not really like, oh no, you can't do it. It was
jaded
the opposite.
Can't.
The opposite. It was like you can and you should do it. And here's a few tips and here's my thoughts. It was really just that I, didn't want to act in another no-budget, unpaid feature film that was not even filming in Auckland. But more that I didn't want to audition for that specifically, Like, I didn't have to audition for Bernie Rao's film. Bernie Rao wasn't like, Harley, can you audition for this? He was like, Harley.
Look, Matt.
I know you can do this.
Let us not forget, this is the star of critically acclaimed, award-winning, internationally distributed I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. The lead actor that you are asking to audition.
Audition like a commoner.
Like a peasant.
A two-bit actor.
Like an indie peasant.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
And older. And
let's not forget older.
Emmy the Vegan wasn't out at that time.
No, it wasn't.
But
So
older had been shot.
And that wasn't also
probably
was
wasn't
not out.
Probably wasn't out, to be fair.
Yeah. He shot it in 2019 mainly.
Right.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, and we may look. I hope our paths cross again. I hope we perhaps get to collaborate on something. And he played the circumnavigator in which was one of the leads in Buzzcut, and he was also very good, very funny, and entertaining. The circumnavigator. That was his frat name, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, they all had different names of like circumnavigator, cum guzzler, like those kind of names.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, on cum guzzlers, we should probably wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Because I have actually got a social event to
and
attend.
I'm really hungry.
And I've got work in the morning.
Yeah.
So I need to attend the social event.
And I need to have dinner.
And then go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
So we'd best wrap this up. It has been fun, though. YouTube.com/Pigville and the number 2. Patreon.com/Pigville. And you can join Chuck Black in being a Patreon supporter for us. Obviously, Chuck Black heard us last week saying about how poor we were and was devastated to hear about how little we earn, and decided that, this is the time when he's going to finally sign up for Patreon. He's giving us $1 a month, and that's really all we ask. Give us $1 a month. If 1,000 people give us $1 a month, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
actually
I mean,
not bad.
If you're thinking, like Harley did announce his net income
for the last financial year,
and he laid it out in great detail.
Yeah.
I did not reveal my income.
No. Top secret. Too much.
I didn't want to make Harley jealous.
Yeah.
Or angry.
Yeah.
Frustrated at his own position in life.
Yeah.
That was so far below mine.
Yeah.
And I also didn't want that for the listeners. I didn't want to, because this whole illusion of being a poor indie filmmaker, this illusion that we perpetuate, would be shattered
Yeah.
by the knowledge of my income.
Yeah. How huge it is.
How massive.
Yeah.
How much I earn.
Yeah.
So I had to leave that off and just let Harley sort of cover those bases.
Yeah.
But if you're wondering how much Harley Neville earns in a year, a COVID year.
This was a very special year.
Yeah.
Where I earned notably less than normal.
Yeah. It's just like how Harley was directed by Guy Pigden, and the person that replaced Harley with his girlfriend, Angie.
I literally don't even get it.
Was directed by David Fincher.
Okay.
You see, there's different tiers.
Yeah.
You know, one person is in a $100 million box office thing.
Yeah.
One person
is directed by Guy Pigden. And in terms of income.
And did not get the $100 million and got paid less than that guy got paid to be in Gone Girl.
Gone Girl, yes.
Yeah.
So it's a very convoluted analogy.
Yeah.
This one.
It just reminded me of that. I don't know why.
Okay. Well,
high status, low status.
On that note of how much Guy is not telling us how much he earned last year.
Yeah. You can be sure that it's way, way more than what Harley announced
last year. Well, there's a big difference though as well. Let's keep in mind how much work you did last year versus how much work I did last year.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you break it down to an hourly rate, I'm on about 4 times as much as you.
That's probably true. It's definitely true.
So yeah, there's pros and cons.
Also, money can't buy you happiness. But also, not having money can also not buy you happiness. So it's a real conundrum.
Yeah. You might as well have the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least you can go out for dinner then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do, mate. I go out every day for my smashed avo for breakfast.
Hey, that's a good way to start the day.
Yeah.
Great way to start the day.
Yeah. All right, so we've got to go. Patreon.com/Pigville, Facebook.com/Guy and Harley, YouTube.com/Pigville and the number 2. And wherever you're watching or listening right now, please give us a thumbs up, maybe a review, maybe go check out olderfilm.com. You can see our latest feature film, Older the Movie. You can also find I Survived a Zombie Holocaust out there on Amazon Prime, Google Play, and other places. You can find Immy the Vegan on all of those places. Tubi, Google Play, you can watch our stuff, and you can just go and check out our stuff on YouTube. That all really helps us. And we will see you next week.
Thank you very much. See you later.